Joy News Prime.
It's 20 hours GMT. Good evening. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios in Accra. You can also catch us live via the ABN channel 235. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Ahead of the bulletin tonight, Ministry of Health appeals to doctors on partial strike to push for their conditions of service to restore service to outpatients departments at public hospitals whilst negotiations continue. 2,000 tertiary graduates to be recruited to enforce light plastics ban expected to come into force from November 1 this year, but plastic manufacturers are unhappy with the notice. Also, National AIDS Control Program begins investigations into presence of fake antiretrovirals on the market. While Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee asked for more time to resolve ex-soldiers' grievances over pensions. And Ghana cedi resumes downward slide against major international currencies, exchanging at almost 3.9 to the US dollar. All of these plus details shortly. Our very first story, the Ministry of Health is appealing to striking doctors at the country's public health facilities to restore outpatient care whilst negotiations continue. The Ghana Medical Association on Wednesday announced the partial strike following a failure to reach an agreement with government on service conditions for public sector doctors. The strike has left patients stranded at several public hospitals across the country. The Ministry of Health, whilst appealing to the doctors, has directed a number of measures to minimize the impact of the strike. A statement signed by the head of public relations at the ministry, Tony Goodman, states, among others, that all heads of directorates in all health facilities should be at post to work with the other non-striking staff available during the period of the strike action. Heads of the various units should ensure that there are continuous emergency services, including maternity services at all health facilities. Now, patients on admission are also supposed to be continuously managed as long as they remain in the facility. We are joined on the phone line now by Mr. Tony Goodman to tell us more about how the Health Ministry is dealing with the strike. Good evening, Tony Goodman. Welcome to Joy News.
Good evening, my sister.
Now, kindly first tell us from the ministry's position how these hospitals are coping so far with the strike.
All right, thank you very much, and good evening to our viewer. Yes, what we have put in place is what we've just issued. The various directives you see is just to make sure that our patients or Ghanaians do not suffer at the end of the day. So we've put in place such measures to mitigate the effect of the strike action. What we're also doing is to make sure that every hospital do not shut down their OPD or other areas because some of the workers are on strike. We are aware that others want to work, so those areas should be open for people to work. Managers in various hospitals, some of them are medical doctors. Because they are in management position, we are expecting them to also move into action and be able to restore healthcare service in our hospitals. The ministry
the latest
is monitoring
update as far as the negotiations with GMA is concerned.
Yes, what we're doing is, negotiation broke down, so we are looking at reconvening by next week, Wednesday. We're told, as you are aware, the Ministry of Health is not negotiating with the doctors. It's rather Fair Wages and Salaries Commission because they have the mandate. We developed this condition of service and we are negotiating on that document. So we're told next week negotiation will resume and then we'll see the way forward.
And so, is there any hope an agreement could be reached soon, or what the GMA makes of the overtures from your ministry?
There should be, because we have tried as much as possible to develop this document. What is left is for the various unions and the various agencies to agree on some of the things and disagree. We know very well that there will be some disagreement, but it shouldn't lead to people withdrawing services. You can only agree and disagree on a table. So immediately you have strike action. It becomes so difficult for you to start negotiating on some of the things. That is why we are calling on our various doctors and health workers to go back to their post and continue to work whilst their executives continue negotiating on their behalf. So that is our position, and we hope that will be taken into consideration and healthcare will be restored in the various hospitals.
Well, many thanks to you. That was Tony Goodman, Public Relations Officer at the Ghana Health Service. Now, Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee is asking retired soldiers who have been agitated over allowances they say are due them from the Ghana Armed Forces to exercise some patience as it deals with the issue. The ex-military officers on Thursday picketed at Parliament House, claiming they were shortchanged in the payment of their pensions. Now, the Defense and Interior Committee, which has been looking into the grievances, says the military high command has asked for more time to revert on the issues raised by the retired soldiers. The committee's chairman, Fritz Baffo, says the ex-soldiers should soon get an update on their issue.
When we were told that the ex-servicemen were here, I met with them on the instructions from the Speaker. I took the petition, and it became a document for us to also look at when we were engaging the minister and the military hierarchy. So yesterday we did, and yes, there are certain concerns, and the concerns that have been raised have got to be addressed. But unfortunately, it needs very detailed documentation. We have to peruse documentation, so the request was that we be given some time for the military to come up with the right kind of documentation to back up what the situation is, so that we can see the concerns. They are interrogating it themselves and investigating it themselves. So we asked for 14 days for the military, but I think that in 21 days we should have everything ready. We're writing to the group that brought their petition to tell them that they should be patient, because we want closure on it. I don't want something that is open-ended. And so we want closure, so that when we get it, we'll call them, and then we'll discuss the documentation that we have, and then we'll compare notes, and then hopefully we'll come to a solution.
Now, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology says it plans to recruit some 2,000 tertiary graduates to enforce an impending ban on the manufacture and sale of light plastics. Government on Thursday announced the ban on non-biodegradable plastic materials effective November 1, 2015. Sector Minister Barima Osei Asare says the tertiary graduates to enforce the ban will ensure strict adherence to the country's environmental laws. The Plastic Manufacturers Association of Ghana is meanwhile unhappy with the 3 months notice given them. They say does not give them enough time to find biodegradable options for their customers. Latif Idris has more.
Ghana is ranked among the 10 most dirtiest countries in the world, and environmentalists argue that plastic materials which are not biodegradable contributes to this. President Mahama, in a reaction, hinted a possible ban on plastic materials following that report. In furtherance to curbing the impact of plastics, the Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Barima Osei Asare, has directed restriction of plastic materials. The minister says graduates from tertiary institutions would be engaged to supervise enforcement.
It's a prescription on the type of plastics that should be produced. One, that the plastics must be 20 microns and above. I've already given the directive to the EPA, so the EPA is working on it. The original EPA officers will be responsible for the recruitment, but we'll make sure that we recruit mostly polytechnic students, graduates, who especially have qualifications in the areas of the sciences, because that's how we can easily teach them environmental science and everything. I'm giving them timelines. Within 3 months, I expect to see that all these 2,000 enforcement officers, we intend to pay them from the levies and penalties that they are able to impose on people who are breaching environmental standards, if you are conversant with the polluter pays principle.
Manufacturers will feel the pinch the most when the restriction is finally enforced from November. Speaking on the Pulse, the National Coordinator of Plastics Manufacturers Association of Ghana, Daniel Tonyiga, is asking for more time.
We support the restriction on the basis that indeed those lower microns are difficult for recycling. That is fair. We agree. We are willing to produce our polythenes, and I want to use your television station to tell the general public that continue to patronize your Hausa cocoa in the polythene. It is healthy. It is healthy. From 1st November, we want to engage the ministry further that we can open up the restriction to, let's say, ending of the year, where our stocks, producers will have so many months of stock. They have done the production issue, run out before we start the biodegradable additives. So we want to engage them that they should continue. Just give us additional 2 months. Let's wrap up the entire year so that 1st of January our production will be fully biodegraded and from 20 microns and above.
Meanwhile, the restriction, which many say could lead to a complete ban, has been met with sharp criticism from traders and vendors who use light plastics to package their wares or deal in them. Joy News' Latif Idris has been speaking to some of them.
The ban will really disturb us because some people prefer the leaf and others prefer the plastic. So they can't ban it just like that.
With the rubber bags, people don't really know how to recycle and stuff. They throw it anywhere, so it's making the gutters and everything choke and stuff, causing natural disasters and other stuff. But with the paper bags, when it gets to water, sometimes you can't so soft, then maybe disperse away then. Or sometimes you leave it on the floor. It becomes so easily to burn up.
Those who feel the pinch the most are the manufacturers and the sellers. What do they make of this?
I don't think it's going to help because it's creation of job. And as you ban it, how am I going to get my daily bread? The producer too is also going to lose. So I don't think it's going to help.
It's very difficult because looking at things, if you have to serve my stew, you have to pour it in this rubber because you can't put this in a leaf or any other thing which can soak the oil. So eventually they can carry it away, which will store some of them or end up maybe, let's say, you can't take it very far.
Civil society organization Economy of Ghana Network wants the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology to formulate a policy that will prevent human activities from moving towards the shoreline. The policy, termed setback line, is a virtual demarcation that sets the distance between the sea and land use, which should check human activities that cause sea erosion aside the natural factors. Hannah Dame has more in this report.
Head of Department of Marine and Fisheries at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwesi Apenin-Ado, at the launch of a climate change workshop in Accra, said Ghana has made strides in building the sea defense at Keta, preventing further erosion of sea land. His worry, though, is the continuous use of the sea land by humans in other coastal areas where there are no defense walls.
Currently, if you go to Keta, there's a huge success story in Keta, and we are all excited about it. But if you go beyond Keta, which is the downdrift side, erosion has increased. And erosion has increased because of the changes in the sediment dynamics within that area. So, yes, sea defense structures, putting in a lot of money, we have been able to secure and protect the Keta township, but we have just transferred the problem elsewhere.
According to him, this can be resolved with the policy.
If humans are able to allow space for the ocean to evolve naturally, there's no problem. So as a country, we need to begin to go back and look at the idea of having what we call the setback line, so that we have in our policies or developmental agenda a setback line in the coastal domain where people are not allowed to build beyond that setback line so that the ocean can naturally evolve.
Acting convener of the network, Dr. Samuel Kujo, mentioned how some fishermen have been forced to migrate to other countries and the unregulated guidelines because of the sea erosion. He wants their livelihood to be enhanced to enable them stay in the country.
The most important one is the migration that is going across our borders. Would you believe that some of our farmers are going as far as Cameroon?
How is it an issue?
The migration itself is not a problem, but the issues I want to draw is there may be exploitation going on because you have these agencies who are recruiting these people. They give some amount of money to their families, and then the people go for about 2 to 3 years. And whilst there, they are able to remit, but any remittance they do, 10% is taken off.
Hannah Odame for Joy News.
Let's do some legal issues. A UK-trained Ghanaian international lawyer has petitioned Amnesty International UK over the sentencing of the 36-year-old man who was caught with a gun at a church frequented by President John Mahama. In a petition to the human rights body, Godwin Ejejemfi said the trial and conviction of Charles Aintree was diabolical and absurd. The lawyer stated in his letter that what happened to 36-year-old Charles Aintree was gross abuse of process, miscarriage of justice, and breach of the fundamental human rights of the accused person. He further stated in his petition that, quote, judging from what the convict was saying in court that he wanted to kill the president and take over, it is obvious he has severe mental challenges and ought to have been granted a lawyer and immediately referred for psychiatric evaluation rather than being sentenced on the spot to 10 years imprisonment. Lawyer Godwin Ejejemfi says Amnesty International must look into the matter. If you just joined us, it's still Joy News Prime. We'll be back shortly with more. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. Effective August 1, 2015, which is just next week, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation will begin the collection of TV license fees, which it says should win them of government subvention. Now, the controversial fees introduced decades ago were suspended after the cost of collecting became excessive and not worth the revenue generated. Now, the license fees are however making a comeback, this time 36 cedis a year. Though many are aware of the reintroduction, most people Joy News spoke to are clueless about how and where to pay the license fee.
I heard it from a trotro. The women in the trotro were talking about it, but I didn't believe it.
Do you know how they are going to collect the money?
I need to ask what the money is going to be used for first, before I know how they are going to collect the money. Because you see, when people pay money, it's not just collecting the money, but what the money is going to be used for. If I know that we are taking this money and at the end of the day, good media houses are going to benefit from it, fine. And we are going to get a good coverage. I mean, if it is about news, we are going to get authentic news. If it's about football, we are going to get it authentically. Then I don't have any problem with that. But whereby we collect money and at the end of the day, it's just about collecting money. People will start to even take away their TVs from their houses because it's not compulsory.
Yes, I heard we can pay through some banks. They are communicating with some telecom companies so that we can pay through them, or some offices that will be available.
Really, I know.
Do you know how you are going to pay the money?
No, I don't know how I'm going to pay the money.
Yes, I know.
But do you know how they are going to collect the money?
No, I don't know. I just heard it, but I don't know where I'm going to. Those who are going to collect the money and where we are going to pay the money to, I don't know.
I don't know how they are going to collect it. Either they will come into houses, they will be giving us receipts or whatsoever. You go into their office to pay. I don't know.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation says it will go ahead with the collection of the new TV license fees tomorrow, despite a writ filed against it. Dr. Charles Rekubrobe, who filed the writ, is, among other things, seeking to restrain the state broadcaster from collecting the fee starting August 1. His lawyer, Egbert Fable Jr., tells Joy News the writ served on GBC means the corporation cannot go ahead with the collection until the matter is determined by the High Court.
One of the reliefs that Dr. Rekubrobe is seeking is an order of perpetual injunction restraining GBC from collecting the TV license fees from the first day of August 2015 or any day thereafter, as far as the sharing of the sharing formula that has been put out is concerned, which means that it is right. I mean, I should say that when a matter has been put before a court, until the court determines it, if you go ahead, as in GBC goes ahead and starts collecting the TV license fee, it means it has determined the matter.
Director General Major Albert Donchebe, however, says the state broadcaster will go ahead anyway with the collection, insisting the rate does not stop the corporation.
We receive the rate and we are responding to the rate. As you know, it gives us 7 days, 8 days to respond, and we will file our response pretty soon.
And what would that mean for the TV license collection, which is scheduled to begin tomorrow?
Well, as you know, the rate does not stop us from commencing the collection. And the court, you know, is the right place for us to go and determine the issue. So we believe the issues will be joined in court, and the court will make a determination.
We have spoken to the lawyer for Dr. Charles Rekrubobe, and what he is saying is that as far as the rate has been served on you, and one of the issues there is to seek an injunction. If you go ahead to collect it tomorrow, it will mean contempt of court.
I can assure you we've also sought legal opinion, and the opinion is contrary. The rate is not a motion.
Away from TV license fees, the Human Rights Division of the High Court has dismissed the case brought before it to decide whether or not to entertain a suit challenging government's engagement of West Blue Ghana Limited for the implementation of the single window and risk management system project at the country's ports. According to Justice Anthony Eboa, the plaintiff, who is a Tema-based clearing agent, Michael Kwekujan, is trying to preempt the project when it is not even in place.
The plaintiff, Michael Kwekujan, was praying the court to place an injunction on the Minister of Trade and Industry, the Minister of Finance, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and their agents from solely engaging West Blue in the National Single Window Project until the final determination of a suit challenging the engagement of the company. With the establishment of the National Single Window, all shipment activities and transit-related businesses will be integrated to achieve efficiency and enable the government to generate more revenue at the ports. The dispute stems from a letter purported to have been written by the Chief of Staff directing the Minister of Finance to engage only West Blue to implement the National Single Window project. According to the applicant, the move by the government to do so sourcing was unfair, unjust and unreasonable because that had blocked him and other agents from having equal opportunity to apply. But a motion for an order striking out Mr. Jan's application was filed by the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, on the grounds that the applicant had failed to demonstrate how his rights had been abused. Counsel for the applicant, Francis Pakwesi Abedu, advanced oral arguments against the state's application on Thursday. The state argues that the suit, taken as a whole, discloses no reasonable course of action and must therefore be dismissed. Opposing the state's application, Mr. Abedu argued that the respondents did not give his client equal opportunity to bid for the contract and had thus violated his client's economic right. He said the government also failed to ascribe the reason for the award of the contract to West Blue. According to him, the criteria for selecting West Blue were not made known, and for that reason, the process was discriminatory.
Let's do other stories because Joy News has intercepted an order for interlocutory injunction against the Ladadekotopong Municipal Assembly and Lands Commission by lawyer Alexander Fenyomaking on behalf of displaced residents of La Palm Wine Junction here in Accra. The writ seeks to bar the defendants, their agents and assigns from carrying out any demolition exercise on the disputed land pending the determination of the instant suit. It also orders the defendant to refrain from harassing the plaintiffs in any way as regards the latter's peaceful and quiet stay and enjoyment of the disputed land properties until the final determination of the suit. The statement signed by the Registrar of the Lands Division of the High Court, Eko D. Mensah, follows last Friday's demolition of properties on the said land by LADMA.
A week ago, this place was full of life, and the residents here were in a pensive mood because they had heard rumors that their properties would be destroyed at dawn. And at dawn the following day, reality dawned on them. Their properties were razed to the ground. It's exactly a week after that particular incident. I'm here to talk to the residents to see how they are faring after their properties were demolished.
All my certificates, my papers, where I'll even sleep, because sleeping at someone's place is not that comfortable. You need to have your own place to sleep and feel comfortable. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Life is not moving on well.
I've lost everything, almost everything, because I sleep here. So that means my things are gone, and I don't know what to do now. So, well, I'm just appealing to the government to see to us, to help us, because we are Ghanaians, and there's nowhere for us to go. And we are stranded. We are here for 41 years, and now we don't know where to start our life. We don't have anything on us. So it's a difficult situation now.
What is going on now is they build a filling station nearby us, and because of the filling station, the man took advantage, and he want to destroy us here. That's why they come and destroy our shop. We are here before they build the filling station, and if they are saying here is waterlogged, then what about the filling station? But they shouldn't forget that chance is chance. But David killed Goliath.
We
have nowhere to lay our heads. I perched with a friend at Oyarifa. I lost everything to the demolition exercise. The bulldozer razed down our house at 3 a.m. last Thursday. I could not salvage anything. My life has come to a standstill. I need help.
It's back to basics for these residents of Lapamwine Junction, whose properties were demolished and destroyed exactly a week ago. They tell me they are homeless and they have to start life from the scratch. Once again, life, they say, is full of twists and turns. From Lapamwine Junction, Derek Sam for Joy News.
Again, the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let's do some politics, because vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party has appealed to the chiefs and people of Suhum Zongo communities to vote out the NDC and bring the NPP back to power in the 2016 elections. Dr. Barima was addressing NPP party supporters at Suhum in the eastern region.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia noted that after 7 years of the NDC's tenure, the popular Idebi Keke slogan has turned to Ibi Wahala Keke. He explained that the NDC-led administration has nothing good to offer the people of Ghana, hence the need to kick them out.
Obafi school, na ose, betuya school fees, obetuya. Or the school fees no mawa, obewuse, Ibi Wahala Keke.
When your wards bring you school fees, are you able to pay?
Hospital now we do national health insurance card.
When you present your NHIS cards at hospitals, do you get the desired service? They tell you it does not work. Now you can't even secure a job after school. The system is frustrating.
The National Nasara Coordinator Kamaldeen Abdullahi urged NPP supporters, especially in the Zongo communities, to stand up and fight for victory in the 2016 general elections.
We must go into the elections with our eyes widely open. I am not asking you to go and fight. but be vigilant.
Dr. Baumia and his entourage visited traders at the Suhum market and asked them to vote out the NDC government in the 2016 general elections. He also presented 100 bags of cement and iron rods to the Suhum Islamic Girls Senior High School to aid in the school's project.
This is Joy News Prime. We're back in a jiffy with the business segment.
Business news.
Time now to talk business, and as always, my name is Abigail Adomako Enchi, and the Ghana cedi appears to have resumed its depreciation against the US dollar and the other currencies, having held its own for a while. Joy Business checks at some commercial banks in Accra reveals the local currencies trading at 3 cedis 89 pesos to a dollar, up from 3 cedis 40 pesos as of July 8. Etonam Say filed this report.
Just yesterday, the cedi was going for 3 cedi 73 pesos to the US dollar, as against 3 cedi 40 pesos on the 8th of July. Joy Business visited some commercial banks around Nima and the Ring Road to assess the performance of the local currency. At Access Bank's branch at the Nima roundabout, buyers had to part with 3 cedi 74 pesos to get a dollar and 5 cedi 95 pesos for a pound. At the Barclays Bank Nima branch, the cedi to a dollar is 3 cedi 89 pesos. UT Bank Nima branch, the cedi to a dollar still remains as 3 cedi 40 pesos. At the Nima ADB, buyers used 3 cedi 67 pesos to get a dollar, and the cedi was 5 cedi 60 pesos to a pound. The Bank of Ghana website quoted 3 cedi 42 pesos for a dollar and 5 cedi 35 for a pound. By the foregoing rates, the local currency on the average depreciated to about 29% since its brief appreciation against the foreign currency from July 9. The central bank had announced plans to inject $20 million on a daily basis to strengthen the cedi. The Bank of Ghana previously pumped $14 million per week onto the market, but increased it recently to help shore up the cedi significantly. The local currency started depreciating against the major foreign currencies at the beginning of January last year and continued this year until July 8, when it appreciated against major foreign currencies. Various civil society groups and market analysts raised concerns about the sustainability of the exercise, describing it as a 9-day wonder. It would be recalled that the US dollar, which was sold at 4 cedi 32 pesos at the end of June this year, fell to 3 cedi 40 pesos on July 8. Market watchers have forecast the Ghana cedi could end the year at between 3 cedi 90 pesos and 4 cedi 30 pesos to a dollar. Etonam Say, Joy News.
The cedi to some export story, and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority (GEPA) says it is progressing steadily towards increasing internet visibility for Ghanaian exports. The failure of most Ghanaian exporters to apply ICT in marketing their products is affecting their performance on the international market. Netherlands-based Center for the Promotion of Imports from Developing Countries earlier told Joy Business Ghanaian exporters were losing out on opportunities on the European market due to the challenge. But Chief Executive of GEPA, Gideon Kwaku, says his outfit is making some progress towards becoming more data efficient.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there have been other instances in the region where, you know, maybe the decision has been made too soon. But I think put it in a wider context, in Western Central Africa, there is a strong momentum, you know, thanks largely to the...
At the core, an exporter is a business person. And as a business person, you are not running a charity. You must take some risks. Invest in what will propel your business. Invest in accessing data. Invest in the tools that will help you gain that access. If that means buying some internet bundles or owning a laptop or becoming more literate in the use of a laptop and all of that. And so the idea is really that we should continuously help our exporters to become more literate in accessing data and using it for their business.
The World Customs Organization, WCO, is downplaying fears the lack of a proper transition plan for the takeover of the valuation of imported goods at the ports by the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority from September could jolt the process. The valuation has for about 15 years now been done by destination inspection companies whose contract ends on August 31. The WCO Senior Technical Officer in charge of valuation, Ian Kramer, who is in town to train customs officials as part of the takeover process, explains to Joy Business there's no cause for alarm because it is work in progress.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there have been other instances in the region where, you know, maybe the decision has been made too soon. But I think put it in a wider context, in Western Central Africa there is a strong momentum. You know, thanks largely the WCO has worked actively at a very, very high level with countries to steer this course, and a number of countries in the region have gone through this process or considering it, and Ghana is now reaching forward. But you know, we do see these plans are in place, you know, not finalised or finished off yet, but you know, we're still.
It should be a concern, the fact that the companies that are going to hand over are saying that there is no transitional arrangement.
Fully functioning customs administration will find everything it needs within the country itself, and there will be legal obligations on importers to keep the necessary records that customs can then audit. We consider the audit function is very important, that customs will reduce their checks at the border, make the focus more on authentic auditing functions conducted in greater depth, which gives traders the release of the goods at an earlier stage. And there's many strands to this, and customs are aware that it's demonstrated by the various partners they're working with, the donor agencies, which I've learned about.
And that'll be all for business. My name is Abigail Adomako. Entry Sports comes up shortly. Do stay on.
Business News was brought to you by...
And we're some 48 hours away from the much anticipated football game in the country, and it's a super clash involving Asante Kotoko and the Accra Hearts of Oak here at the Accra Stadium. Now, referee Yao Ametepe will officiate that game on Sunday. Retired referee Jacob Wilson Say, who officiated the Kotoko Hearts game, which brought about the unfortunate incident in May 9, 2001, has some advice for the match officials going into the game.
Welcome back. Finally, National AIDS Control Program has begun investigations into how a substandard antiretroviral drug got its way into some health facilities across the country. This follows complaints by some persons living with HIV who had adverse reaction after taking the drug. Chairman of the Greater Accra National AIDS Program, Raymond Aholu, says their members across the country have been reacting to the drug for about 3 months now.
Yeah, this drug, the information reached us about 3 months ago, and we were trying to get where the drug was coming from. So when we got to know that no, this is not coming from one person, even coming from other regions, we quickly advise our members for stop taking this drug.
Okay.
So
for how long have they been using this drug? Is it a new drug that has been introduced into the system?
Yeah, it's a new drug that has been introduced into the system. So when they were put on this drug, then they were reacted to. Yeah, some develop swelling faces. The effect that they are having, some develop swelling faces, some complain a lot of severe headache, and some also complain about how they feel as if they have taken alcoholic drinks. These are some of the effects.
And how many of your members have complained so far?
Oh, I can't count it. They are uncountable. They are uncountable.
Is it only within Accra? Or?
Not only within Accra, across the countries. As I'm speaking with you now, the BA, the executive of the BA, NAPLAS, they were also calling me.
Where do your members get these drugs from?
Yeah, they get it at their various facilities. I get my drug at the police hospital, but this drug was not given to me before. But Kolebu, we've gotten this just yesterday from Kolebu. And can a drug come into our country without passing through Food and Drugs Board? They said they are here to investigate, which is not clear to us.
That's where we draw the curtains. Before we go, let's look at stories making headlines. Ministry of Health appeals to doctors on partial strike to push for their conditions of service to restore service to outpatients departments at public hospitals whilst negotiations continue. 2,000 tertiary graduates to be recruited to enforce light plastics ban expected to come into force from November 1 this year, but plastic manufacturers are unhappy with the notice. Also, National AIDS Control Program begins investigations into presence of fake antiretrovirals on the market. Meanwhile, Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee asked for more time to resolve ex-soldiers' grievances over pensions. And also, Ghana cedi resumes downward slide against major international currencies, exchanging at almost 3.9 to the US dollar. For more news, join us on myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for your time. My name is Aisha Barima. On behalf of the rest of the team, have a great evening.
This is Joy News Prime.